Yes, Yamini.
Okay. Firstly, I thank Rohan and Vinod sir for helping me out present at the Subcon user group, like Subcon Pune. And this is the first presentation I'm making on Content Hub 1. So let's move on to the next slide. Yeah, I'm Yamini Punyavathi Muttevi, a three-time Sitecore Technology MVP and innovative technologist with a decade of experience in Sitecore. And I'm passionate about Sitecore and I do blogs as well. And also, I did. I'm the founder of Sitecore User Group Hyderabad, where we organize webinars as well. And also, I have experience from Sitecore 6.6 till 10.3. So that is about me. And today's session would be on content. This is my story. Like I'm a three-time technology MVP, and I'm happy to present here. So let's go into the topic today, which is content hub one, lightweight, still lightning fast. Okay. The reason it is lightweight and lightning fast is that it is the first of its kind. Now let's get into the overview. Then we'll go for the details. One second. Why is it playing auto? Okay. Sorry. Yeah, overview is here. Like firstly, we understand what is Content Hub 1, introduction and benefits. Then we'll move on to where to access and how the homepage of the Content Hub 1 looks like. Then we are going into the cloud portal and looking at the menu items, also the sections which are under the homepage, which forms the content model, which is the content types and taxonomies. And also we move on to content, media, settings, API keys and all. After this, we'll go for the demo. Now, what is the Content Hub 1? Now, firstly, if you notice that this is the cloud native, that is, it's one of its kind in a cloud portal. Like suppose, and also an agile headless content management system. Now, why do we call it headless? That is, it is the front end and the back end are loosely coupled here. Now, this is also useful for developers and marketers to manage reusable omnichannel experiences. The problem is that here, when we call this as centrally managed, is that see here the content is placed, the media items are placed. We need only one graphical user interface, which is storing all the data. Now, what is usable omnichannel experiences? Omnichannel experiences is nowadays we create like most of the content is did only once. Earlier, we used to create like more than like 3 to 4 variations for media, like suppose for mobile, for tablet, and also for the desktop systems, we used to create different kinds of content also for media as well. Now these are all has been changed through the agile headless content management system. Now also composable is into the effect. Now what are the benefits of Sitecore Content Hub 1? Firstly, using the intuitive interface, anyone can create dynamic content models fit for any channel. Now, as we discuss here, this is an intuitive interface. That is, it's easy to adapt and manage as well. So, where we can create dynamic content models. That is, we are creating here the template as well, content as well, media as well, all in one place, and also for both the marketers and as well as developers as well. Now, simplified content authoring for marketers and other content creators. Now, why it is simplified? Because when we go to the demo, we get to look at this because we are not having any segregations or the user roles for either marketers or the developers. Now, serve content anywhere. That is, like we can use one of the content only. The content is created only once, where it can be served like through web app, kiosk, mobile, voice assistant, or and used across channels. Channels, as we discussed earlier, this can be any channel like mobile, tabs, laptops, or also the desktop channels. Now let your business focus on creating impactful content while developers engage in the building engaging experiences. That is, firstly, marketers used to wait until the developers have developed the components, and then they used to start and they used to get a KT or a help from the developers to build upon the content. Now, but this is such an easy user interface that business can only focus on creating content only, whereas developers build only the engaging experiences, which are form the structure of the content. Now, developers can leverage a rich set of SDKs and APIs supporting popular front-end frameworks. That is, see, there can be two ways or three ways to integrate an application into the front-end of one. Also, there are rich set of SDKs, that is the development kits, which are useful for developing. In APIs also, we do have two things, preview API and the delivery API. And popular front-end frameworks would be like Next.js, which is the next thing now that we are using Next.js only, like popular frameworks. Okay. Now, where to access and how it looks. Now, Content Hub can be accessed via the portal Sitecore Cloud portal, that is portal.sitecorecloud.io. In this, or this is a content cloud, or whatever we call it is content cloud because it does have extend cloud in this. It does have prod and the dev instances of Content Hub 1, Content Hub as well. Now, how does the homepage look like here? When we navigate and log into the Sitecore Cloud portal, we have the Content Hub 1 page in which we have the home and the four sections beneath the home section. Now, what are these? Now, the first one is the model content. That is, this forms the base for the template or the structure, wherein we create content types, which is simply to call as a template. And we do have content. From once the content template is created, we go for the content and upload media items. In this also, we do have media items such as PDF, docs, and other supported GIF as well. Wherein the problem is like once earlier these are not a CLI, like these are not serializable using the media items. But now the content as well as media, both the items are serializable. Now, this is last section, which is we are having a get it to the channel. That is, like suppose we are putting everything in the content of one, like content create template we are creating, content we are creating, medias we are creating. But how do we get this to the end user or the backend user? That is, get it to the channel through API keys. So if we navigate next, we'll learn this in the most slides which are coming up next. But now menu items in the cloud portal. As you can see here in the menu items, we are having home, which is the home page, and content model, which forms the content and template for the content. This is content, this is media, and this is settings. So there are four on the menu items. Now, what is a content model? Now, this is the lets you create content types and define taxonomies to organize content. That is, content type is template or a structure for the content, and taxonomies are used to group the content which is used to organize. Now, what is content is we are creating content from the content model. Now, media. Now, we are uploading assets and creating media items and which are used in the media pages and also in the application. Now, settings. Now, these are the settings. This section is only visible to the admin users, like wherein we can create API keys and also OAuth client credentials, which are used in including the organizational tenant data. That is, if we are having hundreds of thousands of applications, um, in the when we are having thousands of applications in the one organization or one tenant, then we need to create one API key for each of the application present in the tenant or the organization. Now, let's go to the next slide. Now, what is content type and taxonomy? Now, content type, when we go to content type, that is building a content model involves creating content types to represent how individual content is structured. Now, what is this meaning of this is when you're trying to create content models, it is used to create one template only. Like suppose inside, so if you navigate to earlier versions, where we can see that one template can be used to create one content item. Similarly, your content model is nothing but a template or a base structure that is used to create a content. Now, this content type also has a separate fields, like we do have drop down, drop field, and other things in the Sitecore, right? Similarly, we do have some other things like fields here. We'll get to see in the demo also. Like each type has a series of fields that determine what information that resulting content contains. So they are saying here that when we are having fields also, it determines what kind of field, either numeric field or date type field or a Boolean field. That is what they are fields in the content type. Now, what is the taxonomy? Now, to use the taxonomy, you will need to add a select field. That is, taxonomy is nothing but we are grouping the content only, and this can be seen in the content type. Like we are creating one taxonomy and can be associated. This is like a multi-text or a multiple choice or a checkbox section where we can use to create a, like in the practically, we are saying that this can be checkbox section. And this lets the content of the select taxonomy values to associate each content item. That is taxonomy. We see more in the demo and content. Now, once the template or the content model or a type is created, as a content author also, we can use this application in the content of an application to the enter text or other media, which are creating existential experiences for customers. Now, what is the workflow associated with this? Now, whenever we are having a content item, right, how do we differentiate between the preview API and the delivery API? Now, whenever we create a content item, that is either media item or a content, then that can be in draft state of. Now, which is said that this can be used with the preview API. Now, if you are publishing that item, or the content media items, then it will be in the delivery API. These are also one more state other than draft and publish, where draft corresponds to preview API and delivery API corresponds to the published state of the item. Now, one more state is there, which is change state. That is, it denotes the difference between published and draft. Now, this holds both for content and media items as well. Suppose if you are creating one item in the draft state, we can use the preview API before making it live for the customers or the end customers. The publish is something we all know that after the publishing, it is live on the website. Now, then there is another change state. That is the differentiation between draft and suppose after draft we publish. Then after publishing also we might change the date time or something else. Then we might navigate this to the change state. Now, if we go to media also, now what is media here? Like content of done, content of stores central repository of assets. Like you can store any kind of assets. Like videos also are supported earlier. Like prior, only few types of documents and images are supported. Okay, that we'll get to know. But after uploading an asset, it becomes a media item. That is, whenever you upload an asset, that becomes media item, which is used in the page. Now, whenever you create an item or a content type, also unique ID associated with the like we get item ID or the GUID site code, right? Similarly, we get a unique ID, which is called the ID here, plain ID only, which cannot be changed or modified here. Now this describes the portion of the publishing workflow. Now, once you have a unique ID, right? This is used to identify now. This ID is very important when we are fetching to the GraphQL data. And also we have some other files like file name, file size, and also pertinent information in the details pane on the right of the media page. That is like metadata. This is called ID. These we do have ID, file name, file size, when it is created, by whom it is created, all are maintained in this unique ID and the section of details. Now, what are the following formats supported? Now, documents like PDF, docs, PPT, and PPTX along with Excel are supported, whereas images like GIF, JPG, PNG, and WebP. This is the latest support. WebP is supported latestly. And nowadays, we can also add content to the Sitecore AI in the content of one. Now, what are settings or API keys? Once we navigate to the demo, right, we will see that once on the page, we do have settings section in the menu item. Now, this is only visible to the admin role. Like there are two kinds of roles here, admin role or the app specific user access, wherein each API key is valid for specific app. As I said earlier, right? In the one organization, we have one tenant. Within that tenant, even though we have thousands of applications, one API key is used to specifically apply to one of the application. Now, also we have two things here. One is preview API or the delivery API. You have a valid API key. Now we can create, rename or delete API keys using the content of one application. So what it says here is preview and delivery API key. As we see here, right? Preview and publish state. Similarly, whenever we have anything in the draft state, that is in the preview. And whenever it is published, that is in the delivery API. So these two are different endpoints where you can consume the draft content, also the published content. Now next we are going for OAuth. Now what is an OAuth authentication? That this is a client bearer token. This is the only application or the setting in the Sitecore content hub one, wherein we can access to the content management API. That is, we have created content and all, but how do we access in the front end application or the content management API? Now this is where it works. The OAuth client application comes here, wherein which lets the applications work with the content of one. Sorry, 1 second. Now, content and media. Now, OAuth is an open standard for access delegation. That is, we do have OAuth the space for every application like content portals as well. Now, this is why we are using OAuth authentication. Instead of providing sensitive information like passwords and other things, we provide this client credentials, like which is useful to provide authentication while serializing the data. That is, I have two instances of my Sitecore content of one. One is a web application, another must be a cloud application. Then I will not be able to create continuously the same content in either QA or the production environment. So to move the content from one environment to another environment, we do need these client credentials which are used to serialize to this content serializer. Now that is the Sitecore content CLI. Now we are going to demo now. 1 second, sorry. Let me escape this. Okay, let me stop sharing. Share again. This is share. Huh. Now, whenever I log into Cloud Portal or yeah, whenever log into this Cloud Portal, which is portal.sitecocloud.io, we have an organization and organization details. I can see here there are applications which are in the production environment or dev environment. This is called Content Cloud, but we're only interested in Content Hub 1. So we'll just go for Content Hub 1. And when you open the application, right, Content Hub 1, it is already open here. This is the Content Hub 1 application homepage where we can see here the person I'm logged in and using Sitecore. Yeah, this is just for content only. This also we learn in this one. And as we discussed earlier, right, these are the 4 sections wherein we are having model content or create content types for your content. This is what the main content model is forming here. And the content is created here, upload media items, which form the media items also. Now get it to the channel, as we discussed earlier, preview and API keys are here. So now let's get to first what is the content model or how to content model. Okay. In this, we are having 2 things. One is content model and second one is taxonomy. Content type is what template is. Taxonomy is like how to group those things up. Let's go for content type now. Now let's create a content type. We'll name it as XQG Pune. Now this is the now this is the ID. This is automatically generated. You're not supposed to enter it. Whatever you name this here, it will automatically generate ID here. Suppose if I already have the same name, then it might take another like 5, then it automatically changes. You can see here, right? And it tells you that whether they already existing name, then we are supposed to give a new name. But we're not manipulating it manually, it just created automatically. Continue. It takes some time. Okay. Now we have created the content type. We are still not saving it. See here, we do have the ID and description here. These are the only things that we provide. It is the only thing which we provide by creating the content type. Now there are 8 kinds of fields here. Like we do have drop kind, drop field, multi-list, all those things in the site code content or the template there. Like in the earliest versions of site code. Now in Content Hub, we are having 8 types of fields here. One is text field, second is text field, third is number, next is Boolean, date and time, reference, media, and select. Now we'll start creating one template with all of this data. Now what is this? This is now first is text one. Text also we do have options. That is, we'll name it first as title. Now this also ID is generated automatically. Now there are 2 things. Short text is something which supports up to 1,000 characters. So first we select this title here. Required is like this must be, as we know all know that this is a filled out field that can be content can be published. That is, this is the required field before we publish anything. It will not allow you to publish before this is if this checkbox is checked until the data is filled. Now next is limit character count. This is something wherein it says that suppose if you are adding for password or something, right? Some password text or something, then it says not more than we can have 10, not more than 10 character count, or we can have at least minimum of 10 character count or minimum of 5 character count. Between also we can have like email range or whatever we call it, like 1 to 10 range also. Now first let me uncheck this. We are just taking a short thing, which is short text type, and we are using the display options and help text. Now this is the title for the Symfony content type. Let's save this. Now firstly we have added one field, right, which is of short text. Now we'll add another field, which is the long text. You can say it as description required. And then we also have to, this display options is something which is optional that we can fill this data or we can leave it as is. But let us fill this. If I click save here, right, it is adding here every field. We can add after adding every field as well. Now this text here. Now this text is also similar thing. We can add here as content. It's something like we can add here. Okay, para data or whatever name we can give here. I don't want to mess with the ID since I'm giving some normal name. Type text is it's not mandatory, it's just an optional thing. Save it. Now add field again. Here we are adding number field. Now number field also name, so we can give it as integer, or number is like phone number you can give here. It is required field. We can also give you a helper text also. That is not mandatory. You can add other fields like this. After phone, we do have boolean. This is a by default it takes false value, and we can add your text. Okay, let's save this. Next, we are adding one more field. Yeah, date and time, which is used to like publish when we are using articles, right? We can use this date and time field because it is used to publish date. We can add it as publish date. Like this is needed because when we publish something, right, this can be used easily to identify the articles. We can sort by the latest date. Next, we are going for another field now, which is the after date and time. We go to reference in a short time. But media, as we know, we can just say banner image for banner, save it, and then you're adding another field, which is select. Now, this is what I was calling as a taxonomy because here we are grouping your the taxonomy. Now we can say content taxonomy is my field name, and then I can select existing things. We have created one content. This is created. Wherein I create, we can go here, wherein it shows the things which are already created by me. That is a content type. Suppose there are three changes we said, right? Content approver, content author, and also content publisher here. These are the taxonomy states. Now we can create existing also, but as we are having here, we added this. We can go and save this. Now we are going to the last field, which is the reference field. Now, what is this reference field? This references field is something that is used to connect the two things. Suppose we are creating a header component in this content, header template and content with this. Now for this, I can term this as my header image. Let me create a header here. This, okay, header is something which we are creating as a component, right? So I can create menu item that forms a part of header. Only specific content types like we can create one menu content type and add that, or all content types like it takes everything. Now first we'll take only this one and we'll add subpone here. Okay. That is, it is allowed only that type of content is here allowed here. Now, what is this is, see here, when you are trying to create a header item, right? In header, we do have menu item, but there are a lot of menu items. This forms thousands of menu items once you create one item. Let me save this. Now, what I mean is, once you created this menu item, right? This menu item can be used as reference in header part. Like, okay, we have created content type, right? Now, see here, ID is there, last updated, created one. Now, this is in the draft state. If you can see, we can go back here. Just suppone. Okay, let me type it because it just segregates or sorts in the ascending order. See, this is the one which we have created. Now we do have this data, but then this is all the data field which we created. And if you go here, right, a little step back, it is in the this is the content model, right? This does not have any draft state, but content and media has a draft and a published state. Now, once we have created this, let us create the content now. Okay. Now, when we are creating content, we just have to click on content, create content item, select the just Pune or whatever template which you have created, then which you are adding this thing. Name is test item. I can give title is name is something like which is we are getting in the ID also. Sorry, my mistake. One second. Name is something like earlier we are creating names in the content type. Similarly, when you create a content name type, right, it associates with the content type also. Like this one. This is Suponi content type. Now, once you create and save this, right, it gives you the ID. Unique ID, which is from this one. Yeah. Then we create ID. See here, ID is there for test item. This is name, which is by default present. And these are the things which we are required to add. Now, title is this one. I can have the same thing here. Like presentation. Now, this is what is description. Where we saw here, this is a single line, short text. that is supporting up to 70 characters, sorry, 1,000 characters only. Now this supports up to 50,000 characters. And here, this short blinking thing is Sitecore AI, where we can add data as well. Generate with AI is something it will automatically update you. Like only content now, as of now, here also we can add generate with AI. See here, there are options. Writing we can improve, fix in grammar, spelling, needs longer also. It will add with text. It generates content based on the idea or the keywords which you have provided in the title field. Then it will add the content. See here, this is what it is selected, but we can add this also. No, cancel, replace. Now this is all, it supports only 1,000 characters. So let's delete some of the data, then save it. Now, it will show errors because we put some required fields as well, right? So this is done. Presentation we are added. Now this is called rich text. The one which we added at Paranita, this forms the rich text where we can add images or we can, this also has an AI feature. The content type of everything has an AI feature like description, title, or the rich text. Now when we are adding this heading one, we can add an heading one, this text. We can manipulate all these things via normal rich text only, which we already know in the Sitecore content. Full screen also it comes up. So we do have data, we can have attachments, we do have links here, code also we can add here. So these are all supported in the rich text field. Now if we navigate phone number, now this supports you, like what is the number which you created. Maybe if you put the condition like limit to 10 or 12 numbers, or between more than 10 or minimum 10 or between 10 and 15, that all can be handled in the phone here. Now test is the boolean field which we already added. So let's put for true. Publish date, it can be today. And you can save this banner image. Now this is what I was talking about. Banner is either we can add existing media or upload new media. First we'll try to add one media. Okay, which is already added, content up one. And second, you can also add upload new media. Now I can add, okay. Now this is something like logo, which you're just adding now. And yeah, these are the two things. One is this one, second is this one. We can add new, and we can also add, the reason here we can add n number of items here in the image section or the image field. Like banner is there, right? We can change these images. And how do we access that? We can know in the data section because this is something which is stated in the like access in the front end, right? Or in the next JS will be applicable, which image is selected, this or this. Or we can loop it and we can select also. Now content taxonomy, this is what we are grouping here. See here, I created one select field here, which is a content approver, author, or publisher, like which section or category this belongs to. Now let's add it as a content author now for time being. Now we added this menu item. This is what I'm saying. Menu item or something which is a reference field. That is reference field as in like add content item. There is nothing here. The one which we just created. That is the one test item. Suppose we can create new content. Now this asks me to create new content with the same test of data because it's referencing here. Suppose I can add. So keep editing. Okay, let me close this. Discard. Then we can add here existing content. Now, the one which we created, we can add here one item. It can add multiple items also. Create new and add test to some description here. Now, as we have put data, this is the import like a required field. Say we need to add data. This also we have provided as a required field. The next we did not provide, right? So that's not fine. Same we have done. Here also we can have a loop of data, or we are just putting in save. Then it becomes into the draft state. As you can see here, this is the draft state. Now let me save this. This entire thing, test item has been saved here. Okay, this is the entire thing. And now when we go back, right, in the content section, we do find this test item in the draft state. Now this is accessible in the preview. We can publish either duplicate, and we can also duplicate with the content gets repeated into the same blocks. Now this is in the preview API. When I publish, it goes to the delivery API. See, publishing content item. Whenever it gets published, it will change the state from draft to the published state. After published, if you change anything, right, it also maintains that state. Now I can refresh the page. It gets published. Okay, it is still in publishing. Here it will show publish. Yeah, publish is in progress. You can see here that publish is in progress. Once published, it will update the section, the data content, whether it's draft or published. Let me refresh page again. Okay, it is still publishing. Okay, now untitled we have created here, right? This I can go here and publish this also. This is small data. This gets published faster. Then we can go to another one and see here whether, see, this is published one. It also shows me the date and time when it is published, class published. Now I'll make some small change in this codes and save this. Then it becomes to change status. Okay, publish. Again, we can publish or we can move it to draft state as well. See here, we do have JSON preview. This is used for us when we navigate into the GraphQL. This is where GraphQL comes in. And let me publish again. And it changes straight to publish as well. I think we cannot make it back. Unpublish is one option, which gets you all the content in draft state. Now, why do we use unpublish? Is suppose we are using like newsletter or Christmas or something on a particular day, you can publish it on that particular day and then publish it. See, unpublished is not available because we publish. So we have to wait until this gets published first. Let me refresh the page. And this gets refreshed, right? We can, okay, it's still publishing. We can make another item as which is in published item. This is a published item, right? I'll make it as unpublished. Edit and unpublish. Then it goes back to the draft state. You're continuing editing on this page. So it will last some time. It will take some time to get unpublished or published. Now it got unpublished. Now this is in draft state. Okay. This is all we have seen here. Now, if we go to media items, right? Media items also we have updated two things here, draft and publish. The same thing is applicable for media items as well. As we know, we are supporting few things only. So it's supposed to have a particular format like data, time, and other things. See files, search dimensions, and other things. It's supposed like this. Now, if we navigate to settings, this is the only section which is applicable for the entire talent section. That is for these are the stuff application keys or API keys which are created. What client is something which we discussed, right? These are things which are used for the backend to integrate them into the client section. That is when we are creating these applications, right? These are data. This should be going into some place where we can take this data and we can it's applicable into the backend, and then it through the front end application Next.js, it gets deployed onto the page. Okay, now this is all we saw here, right? Taxonomy also we saw here. Now we can see something like okay, let me go to here. This is all we have seen, right? Now there is one application, it is easily deployable to Vercel as well. Whenever you put the application, right? This is one of the applications I've developed, wherein this entire portal is, or the one single page portal is developed in the content of one. This entire thing. Every content is coming from the, every content is coming from the content of one only. Like these are all coming from content of one. Now, how did I achieve this? Firstly, we have two things. As I said earlier also, when we go back to home, right, there are two documentations here. One is the content management API and the Delvian preview API. This is the one. So these are two things here where we are having two endpoints. One is this is the preview endpoint, which I can play around using the ID. /ID becomes my GraphQL ID, and this is the preview API. That is preview, and this is the delivery API. So now, how do we get the data synchronized also? This entire thing is deployed onto the virtual application. Now, if we go back to solution, right? Now, as I said earlier, we need to have environment variable which provides us the data of authentication, API keys, and also the secret token. That is when we are creating one application here, right? For every app, we need to create one API key. This forms the API key, which I created earlier. This is the one. So only Delphi preview it shows. It creates only one-time token that we have to store it at first time only. We are not able to save it, then we have to get another key. That is there. And if we go to Sitecore or the Visual Studio, wherein we get, this is a simple Next.js application only. Now, I just created latest Next.js application using the command line, the terminal and the command line. Now, what do we get this data? Like this is the default things. We need to add the environment variable. This is all data, just confidential. So let me navigate to the page. Now, we do get this data, right? Okay. Now, serialization is something, as I said earlier. To serialization, we do get the data like this. Like this, how the data, like it shows me two things. One is content types, which are all the content type or template things. Content items, which is about each of the content item has um these all data. Wherein you add this data also, like these are all the data which is created in the YAML file format. Next, also we do have something called as media items. Those are also same. Earlier 1 version, we never had a CLI for media items, but now it is saved also. Like these are also created in media, YAML files. See, we can zip it up. We can either zip this up, or we can also push it to the higher environment using the CLI commands. Now let's look at the structure for this one. Now how did I create this data? Once we go back to source, the SRC, yeah. Now there's GraphQL. I was talking about this thing right now, components. Let me go to the graph also. API endpoint, where is this? Okay, let me navigate it to this one. So let me get it to here. So first we'll know about what is this component. Like I created one website, right? So this is all, it just takes this data only. Only two things are important here. One is types. This is manually created, not like the leprechaun things, but media results. It is just creating one item type or type. Suppose we go for this about type only, then this is the template which we are considering. What are the ID and name are the default things, which by default appear, and title, description, short description, images, and text. This we are writing in the next
Hi,
shares.
Yamini. Sorry to cut you here.
Yeah, sorry. Tell me.
What screen you're sharing right now? Is it the
Sharing. Visual
content hub one?
Studio.
No,
No,
no.
Visual
Actually,
Studio.
I'm unable
Okay,
to see
sorry.
that.
My mistake. Sorry. Stop and share again. Okay, share button is yes. Visual Studio. Sorry, my mistake. I thought I was sharing the entire screen.
No issue.
Okay, thank you. Okay. This was the application I was showing you, like in the in the Visual Studio. Okay. Here we are having content items and types in the serialization folder. When we through CLI command, right? These are all the YAML files which are created. Okay. Then these are the content items which are created in the these things. Like these are the YAML files which is only mainly used to move from one environment to another environment. But when we come to implementation, right, then we have to go to source. We'll consider one component about component. Then we have GraphQL here. One forms the library also. Now, why is GraphQL used here? See, this is the one GraphQL which we directly can import the data also. Once you write this data query, right, it is easy to um, get the data into JSON format. Like this is the media query. This is we can learn in next session also, because this is typical things which are firstly we need to this is simple as an HTTP component only. The only thing which we are supposed to integrate is the environment variable which forms this data, like client ID, secret, and the auth token. Once we get this connection, we can just go to the data here, and we can add any content type and content types also. This is basically the application. Okay. Yeah. We can now go to the questions. Then stop and share. I think it will not show. Okay. We can go for the questions now.
Yeah, sure. So I'll start with the basic ones that we have. So first thing is, why should one go for Content Hub 1 over XM Cloud?
Okay. Okay. Firstly, why are we going to content of oneness? See, it's a cloud SaaS portal also. Secondly, Exam Cloud is something which we are having like front-end application, FEAS is otherwise. Content Cloud. In Content Cloud, we have a Content Hub 1, which is supportable only for small applications. Like there are requirements where we can use article pages or mostly simple article blog pages, blog sites also, where you are only handling most of the content and not the developer things. Because this content hub one is easy for having business users as well as developers also. Developers can develop content things which are typical in the structure, and business users are easy to use the content. But Exam Cloud is for entire whole application, which is for business users, and Content Hub one is for small application, where only it's focused on the content, like articles or the blog pages.
Perfect. I think the second question is on the similar lines. I'll just ask it, but I think you have already answered it. How to decide when should we use what? Content Hub versus Content Hub 1 versus Content Hub CMP.
Okay. Now, CMP is for products that we are not handling here, and Content Hub is for mostly Content Hub as operations and Content Hub DAM. Now, DAM is only for digital asset management only. Like we are storing assets and we are uh, accessing them in the applications, right? And Content Hub operations is something where we are handling CMP and the member portals, members also, which forms mostly for the products and other things. But whereas when we are having this content hub one, this is for small applications and mostly for content authors. Suppose if I'm choosing one application to be developed, like we do have a instead of these models, right? Earlier we used to have something called as for the design sections, right? Where the design can be done in the front end portals or something like that. Now we are creating this also. Like suppose if you want to demo like how an entire website looks like, or mostly for articles, then we can use content hub. One content hub only for two things, DAM and operations as well. Where products are involved. In this, products are not involved.
Sure. Next one is, does Content Hub 1 have workflows?
Workflows, yes, only for the data and the content items, not for the content template. So it is totally different when we are talking about content workflow in a content hub one. That is the draft and the publish and this state only are called as workflow, but not the template workflow or the item workflow.
Okay, the next question is, can we safely conclude that we must establish a template using Sitecore Content Hub before we transfer it to business user for content authoring?
Yes, I would say there are two things here. One, developer also can develop a content model, or the person, business user also can. Suppose if you're using only banner images, right, then developers or the content authors also can go easily and create a content item. Only for reference fields of taxonomies where the content author is typically busy or maybe they're not understanding it, then they would go for developers. Otherwise, we can create a developer or a business user also can create a template, which is a content type here.
Okay, sure. Next is, how can we migrate from Sitecore 10 to Content Hub 1? Is there any out-of-the-box utility available?
Okay. Now, when we are migrating, right, if you want to a small portal, then we can use it to Sitecore Connect. There is something called as Sitecore Connect, wherein we can connect this Content Hub 1 application to the 10.1. But I would say we are not considering more complex like forms or maybe payment section. That all cannot be handled in Content Hub 1. But general site can be developed. Yes, that can be done through Connect only. Sitecore Connect one product is available where we can integrate to any of Sitecore products, like from exam to Kannada one as well.
Perfect. Okay. The other one is, does Content Hub 1 support other types of authentication apart from OAuth or JWT, etc.?
No, when we are, I think Next.js, Next authentication, we can make use of it. But I have tried only this thing through the OAuth things. But if for more complex, we can use this also, the normal authentication from Next.js, like which is similar application for Exam Cloud also. It is support, but I'm not explored yet on the other applications.
Okay. Other one is a generic question. I think this anyone can answer. How to get access to Content Hub 1? How to get access to Sitecore Content Hub. I think this is from your either partner company or like from your client, right? You cannot get access for an individual learning purpose. Either you need to go via partner or your client.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just skip that question and go to second one. Can we reasonably believe that Sitecore Content Hub stores data in an organized manner, which can be accessed and utilized across various front-end solutions or platform through the API tokens, that is GraphQL?
Yes, correct. That is correct. Yes.
Perfect. Now, We have some time, so I'll take one or two more questions, and then I'll just open the floor if somebody. I think I see somebody has raised hand, Rajat. Just give me a sec before I ask. Do the reference item also get published along with content item, or do we need to publish them separately?
No, publishing, once we publish the entire item, and every item gets published if it's not published either. Like suppose difference item or any other item also, when we publish first the main item, that gets published also. We need not go and separately publish it. Yeah.
Okay. Last but not least, how can we migrate our media files from other source to Content Hub?
Okay. Media sources and like I would say if you want to migrate, we can do the CLI thing, wherein we can get the media items into the source application, then we can get it uploaded to the content hub one. Otherwise, as we said, only from content hub to one that we can do using CLI also, YAML files. But if you want to upload in a, like if you're uploading in the solution, like we just did a code in that solution, that also can be uploaded via the CLI. So that is also the two options. You can directly upload or you can upload to CLI.
Okay, perfect. So I think I'll just take only these questions from the chat. Thank you everyone for putting your questions in there. There are a lot of questions. I'll suggest that if you want to really get the answers to this one, you connect with Yamini on LinkedIn and can share your questions with her, and she might guide you well. I'll just go for the people who have raised a hand. So Rajat, you can go first. Okay, Rajat has.
Yamini, we can, yeah, I'm here. Yamini, we can use SXA for smaller applications as well. Then why should I choose content of one?
Okay. Suppose we are not storing article details in content, right? As we can say in SSC, we do have variations, other things, but it is not used to store a lot of articles data. We go for some other like migrations also, like from the WordPress or some other articles. We can eliminate that by using this content of one product from site code. So that is the one good reason for accessing it, not an SXA, but a content of one application.
Sure. Thank you.
Arun, can you go next?
So Yamini, I have a few questions. Like one thing, is this just a product of site code? It is not a like full functional thing. So is it feasible? Like we can move our XP exam website to Content Hub in easier way?
Sorry, I lost you for a few seconds. Can you please repeat the question?
I'm saying like is this is only just a product of site code which can provide us a seamless integration of data to various front-end application. So is that feasible to migrate our XP exam existing site core website to this Content Hub in easier way?
Yeah, migration also can be done through Sitecore Connect only. Like sorry, we can do migration also while we are not having carousel, or we do have carousels also in this. But problem is it does not support multiple complex structures like template which we are creating, right? Like suppose we are creating in Sitecore in XP or Excel, we do create multiple complex structures like header, partial designs, and then again personalization of the same header in the earlier XP things. But now this is for a more simpler application, CH1 is. But we
Got
do
it.
can migrate small sites.
Got it. So like one more thing, like last thing. So like content, what we see in demo, like it is in a flat file, in flat structure only. So is that not any way to organize the content in a proper way? So like we can, it means
So
simply we organize that. Like right now the content is all are structured in a, I guess, ascending or descending order.
yeah, that is the only thing here. That was the only thing which I was requesting because it is we can just select. Earlier we used to have only all the items, wherein we are just to organize the ascending or descending order sort by. But now there is I can share screen quickly for 1 second to resolve the. There is one option like when we go here, right? When we go to content now, when we go to content, right? There is an option called as content type here. So when we check this checkbox, right, I can see only the card data. So this is earlier also this is not available in content number one. This is available now. Like we can select based on the tag categories here. So that is resolving our sorting here. because we are not concerned with more thing, right? So we can just check this and we can select the data here.
Is this the taxonomy?
No, no, it is not taxonomy, it's just a segregation of categories.
So like how it is defined as cart?
That is one template that we have created, content
Oh,
model.
okay. Based on template, we can sort it out.
Yes, correct, exactly.
Yep.
Yes, that is the answer. Yeah.
Thank you.